Okay, this video is what is the most common cause of mental illness? And you see there's a little koala bear here. And they chopped down all the trees, and the poor koala bear is not very happy. He can't find any eucalyptus leaves to eat. He can't find his regular friends and family. So then the psychiatrist and the psychologist come along and they tell him, look, this koala bear has a mental health problem. Okay, I like the quote by Thomas Szasz, one of the greatest psychiatrists to ever live. He said, psychotherapy is the medicalization of personal problems. And then this was supposed to be psychoanalysis is medicalization squared. Psychiatry is medicalization cubed. He had also pointed out that a lot of times what they do in psychology and psychotherapy is they put despicable labels on people, like to insult them, like labeling a package as garbage, saying it should be excluded from society. Okay, now what are some of the things that cause mental illness? Number one, having a bad diet, because a bad diet is poison to the brain. You know, those are excitotoxins, things like MSG, MFG, aspartame, caffeine. Okay, there's a lot of other problems with the diet. You know, high fat, you're going to decrease oxygenation of the tissues. High sodium, you're going to vasoconstrict, decrease blood supply to tissues, etc. Deficient in the things in plants that cause better blood flow, like potassium, magnesium, nitrate precursors of nitric oxide, fiber to prevent leaky gut so you don't get postprandial endotoxemia and related amyloid clotting, etc. Filter the water, like with reverse osmosis, because currently the water's got F minus and Al in there, both neurotoxins, not to mention all those estrogenics. And like I said before, those estrogenic chemicals aren't just estrogenic. About a large percentage of them, I think it was 80%, have a negative neurotoxic effect. I mean, think about it. Atrazine, it's a mitochondrial inhibitor. BPA, it's a mitochondrial inhibitor, okay? Air pollution. There's a lot of problems with air pollution. Volatile organic chemicals increase the risk of autoimmune disease. Some of them can activate microglia and cause neuroinflammation. They're bad. Okay, those are when I say volatile organic compounds, I'm talking about industrial chemicals, typically ones that transition from a liquid to a solid, like paint, like liquid paper. But there's other ones in there too, like TCE, trichloroethylene, for example, etc. Having divorced parents. You know, divorce is very common. The majority of marriages in the United States end up in divorce, and typically the children are most often raised by their mother. The mother often has to work, and they're raised by babysitters. They're unsupervised, latchkey kids. Kids do much better with a father in the house. Fathers are much more objective, level-headed, and sort of reasonable. Mothers tend to overfavor their child, and it's good the child needs that unconditional love, but as they get older, they sort of need that objective, harsh reality of a father to say, look, you need to work, you need to be quiet, you need to do what you're supposed to, and, you know, no one's going to help you unless you help yourself. You know, you get that from a father. Okay, the next thing is the schools are really, really, really bad. First of all, they waste all the students' time. They're basically just training them to be conformist and wimpy. They decrease the child's resilience. They get harassed in these public schools by psychoanalysis type therapists and teachers. I talked about this recently in a book report. The name of the book was Bad Therapy by Abigail Shrier, and she made the point that they constantly try to talk about bad kids, about bad childhood experiences, to try to make the children denounce their parents. And what they're trying to do is the more you talk about something, the more the kid thinks about it. So they try to get the kid thinking about, you know, have you ever tried experimenting with opioids or with marijuana or methamphetamine? They want the kids to do these things. They're harming the children. The more they turn the kids into patients, the more money they make. And they also then label them as attention deficit, drug them with amphetamines. They confuse them about their gender. A lot of the reason kids are being confused about their gender is because there's so many toxic chemicals in the food and the drinking water and in personal care products that they can have a gender effect. You know, I was reading quite a bit recently about the gender effect of chemicals on a pregnant mother. Relatively small amounts of these chemicals can cause effects on the fetus. You know, like small Johnson size in boys. That's a much more common problem than it used to be, and it's not in a joking way, in a real way. Okay, excessive time on cell phones and the internet. I recently reviewed the book Anxiety Generation by Jonathan Haidt, and it said the more time a kid spends on a cell phone and the internet, the more mental illness the kid has, the more anxiety, the more depression, the more tendency to self-harm, the more tendency to suicide, the decreased academic performance, the decreased resilience, the increased predisposition to substance abuse. Substance abuse is a really big deal. And kids tend to think marijuana is safe. Marijuana is not safe. Marijuana very often precipitates psychotic episodes, and that's highly dangerous because the psychiatrists are idiots. They don't care about the patients. They will often manage these psychotic episodes with antipsychotic drugs. Well, guess what? Almost all psychiatric drugs cause a chemical lobotomy gradually, but the antipsychotic medications in particular can cause a chemical lobotomy rather rapidly. They can decrease a child's memory ability. This is a very serious problem. It's a common problem. I recently showed you a link to the YouTube video from the Dr. Joseph site where the young lady had a similar problem to this, and she got a chemical lobotomy as part of treatment for a psychotic break from marijuana. Okay, it's a big deal. It can cause schizophrenic breakdowns. It's bad. It's not a joke. I got a lot of friends neurologists. I see a lot of brain CT and MRIs. You know, that's not uncommon. They don't usually say it's because of the marijuana, but I go in the chart, it's marijuana. And the neurologists tell me marijuana is a very common cause of serious mental illness and mental problems. Okay, atheistic Darwinism instead of Christianity. The purpose of atheistic Darwinism is to bring back slavery. It is not scientific. It is not rational. It is not true. It just gives carte blanche to a ruler to abuse the public. That's why rulers like it. Okay, Christianity says all men are created equal in the image of God. It builds up the little guy. It says he's created in the image of God, therefore he's something special. He's part divine. And that's what you want if you're the little guy, to protect you, okay? Psychiatric drugs, like I said, they can cause a chemical lobotomy. So the reason why people are messed up, because society's messed up, a lot more so than that there's something wrong with the person. There seldom is, other than the side effects of these problems here. Anyways, I hope that was helpful.